And it feels also like they are deciding on whether to really pursue Anthony Davis. And I was thinking about this.
Because go ahead. I love me some AD.
So let me get this straight. 12 years ago, the Warriors were light years ahead of everybody, according to Joe Lacob.
Okay, they missed the dynasty.
And now a decade later, their entire free agency is being steered by LeBron James and Rich Paul, and they've essentially acquiesced to LeBron James and Chris Paul to determine what their future for next year is going to be. It's really LeBron James's decision. It's not really the Warriors front office, is it? It feels like they've kind of handed over the power of the front office to a player and an agent, as opposed to, Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy running this thing.
Well, I'll say this. I could see how you could get there, but the bottom line is, why are you surprised, or anybody out there? Because we all knew it was all in for Steph, and I'm being proactive that this knee will be healthy. And Steiny, I still think he's box office. I know he is when he's healthy. So this is just, to me, an extension of all in for Steph. But I am shocked that there were no other moves around the edges or some chances taken in regard to bringing some other young talent in here just in case you don't get him. So I told you during the break, I feel like Steph deserves better. And again, I'm not saying he's exonerated from missing as many games as he has, but the whole goal was to get him ready-made help, not through the draft. And it looks like, guys and gals are dancing. The club is about to close. And the Warriors are hoping that they can get LeBron James. And if we do get, and I'm telling you now, maybe for all the wrong reasons other than basketball, but I want all eyes for the Bay, the station. Everything changes if LeBron were to choose us. And I know that's not, they're going to go to the Western Conference Finals. I'm not saying that's off the table. But, man, when that news broke that Bron was saying, hey, if you get AD from Washington, I was eating. Yeah. I did have some clam chowder. I'm not in. But, Steiny, I was eating that clam chowder like we might get AD and LeBron with Steph, Dre, and the rest of the gang. And now to be where we're at now, to where I think, I don't know if the King's coming, that is by far, what did you call it? Just unsatisfactory offseason.
It'd be an awful offseason.
Oh, awful, thank you.
I mean, if the Golden State Warriors go into next season and have essentially one new player, and it's Yaxel Lendeboer,
who I'm in love with.
I think that would qualify in most Warrior fans' minds as just an absolutely underwhelming, summer. And the reality of the situation is it feels like they had to pass on some other players to make sure that they didn't jeopardize the possibility of getting LeBron James. But I think there's something to me, and I talked to Evan about this last week. There's something about these off-season moves where I think Warrior fans have to be absolutely realistic about what this team is capable of doing in terms of moves. So I got a list here, Goo, of the 7 big trades this offseason and the names of the players.
I'm excited.
So we have Giannis, Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, LaMelo Ball, Ja Morant. I'll put Walker Kessler in there and Miles Bridges.
Okay.
Those are 7 pretty big names. All those trades, with the exception of one, and that's Walker Kessler, have something in common, and that is that those players were all traded for a player, at least one player that the other team wanted. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Why did they trade Giannis? Because they could get Tyler Hero, who's a good player, and then they got Kel'el Ware, who's a really good young player. So the Milwaukee Bucks got 2 good young players out of that. Jaylen Brown. You can say what you want about Paul George. He missed 25 games last year because of suspension. It was an injury. He came back in the playoffs, and he was pretty good.
Yeah.
So I know Paul George's reputation has slipped over the last few years, but Paul George can play. He's a professional player who's still pretty good when he plays. The Boston Celtics clearly were not going to trade Jaylen Brown unless they got a player back. They got a player back, Paul George. Kawhi Leonard. The Clippers got a player back, Brandon Ingram, legitimate player. Who else? We got LaMelo Ball. Who'd the Hornets get? They got Naz Reid. Julius Randle was also traded. The Warriors have no players like Naz Reid or Julius Randle. They have no player like Jeremy Grant, who was traded for Ja Morant. The Warriors have no player, and I've said this before, making $25 or $30 million that another team wants. They have, and here's what I think we've come face to face with. Nobody wants Jimmy Butler. Nobody wants an injured Jimmy Butler. It makes very little sense for another team to want Jimmy Butler. You don't know if he's going to play. You almost have to plan on him not playing. So then if he doesn't play, he's a free agent, and you might have given up a player for somebody who'll never play a game for you. So I don't think Jimmy Butler has value for the Warriors. I don't think they can move Jimmy Butler.
And you shouldn't.
Okay. Well, then.
And he shouldn't.
Okay. Well, then there's really nothing you can do.
But yes, you can, Steiny.
What?
You can hurt as a Warrior fan because it's sobering. It is sobering when you do inventory. And I heard you last week when we were listening, that thing went viral when you told Evan and the listeners that nobody covets the players the Warriors have. And, I mean, if that doesn't hit you, like my musty guy on the airplane, I don't know what will. And who's to blame? And we could play that game. But the bottom line is when you take inventory and hang your hat on that statement about what's attractive, and we're pretty much ugly now, one, who's to blame? When does it change? And then three, how did we get here?
We've been trending in this direction for years.
Well, no, part of it was Kuminga could have been that guy that was coveted, and maybe he was, and they didn't pull the trigger. No, I'm talking about when he was with us.
You can go get him now if you still think he's any good.
No, my point is the cat's off the bag, the rat's on the table. When we didn't know what Kuminga was going to be, I think his value a couple years ago might have been higher than it was just this when they dumped him. But when I heard you say that from the East Coast, Steiny, I'm like, that was 1,000% correct, but what do you do about it? Nigga Butch, what do you do?
Do about what? There's nothing he can do, Goo.
No, we got to fix it. You got to try to. So, Bron,
right. It's not going to be, Guru, it's not going to be fixed this offseason. It can't be. It absolutely can't be fixed this offseason. It's going to take years.
I didn't come back taking shots, and this is not even a shot. I'm asking you, do you think the Warriors have the guy to fix it?
Who?
Mike D.
Oh, I mean.
Or is this bigger than him? Did he inherit a mess?
Yes, he inherited a mess.
Bob Myers doing fine these days.
Yeah. I think and people get mad at me.
Yeah.
But
for what?
Because they're going to say, oh, well, Dunleavy can't get anything done. It's like, no kidding, he can't get anything done. What can he get done? You're not going to move Steph.
Got a bad hand.
You're not going to move Steph. So you don't have anybody to move. You don't have anybody to move. And whether we like it or not, the Jimmy Butler trade worked for a little until it didn't. Right. And now that trade is absolutely killing the Warriors.
No doubt about it, man.
And that's just the way it went. You got an old guy. He got it hurt. He's going to miss at least a full calendar year for the most part.
So there's a price to pay.
There's no way. You just can't get out of that.
Oh, man.
And so now, as disappointing as people are going to feel about the offseason, the only thing they could have done is not waited for LeBron and tried to go in a different direction. But clearly they didn't want to do that.
And I guess to keep it real, to keep it 100, as the kids say, I know LeBron James he's still a free agent. That could happen. And again, I want it to happen like all outdoors, but there's something in me telling me this thing was moving to where if he was coming to the Bay, it would have already happened. I hope I'm wrong. But yeah, it is pretty sobering. And that's why me, and my sons watching Yaxel, again, it's just summer league. I get it. But 6'9", 240, he looks all of it. So if that's part of the future during a down season, and I don't want to say they're going to have a down season, but how can you get excited about their chances in the West after last year? And hopefully Jones and Linda Borg will deliver. But Steiny, these days of getting Steph and Dre. So why did Dre opt out? It was to free that money up to go get LeBron. So,
but there's no guarantee.
No,
why? Let me ask you this: why would the Warriors have assumed that LeBron was coming when they knew that he was first going to go back to L.A., Cleveland's in play, like
Miami, Philly now?
Exactly.
Oh,
and you know, why are they in this place? I don't know. The 925 says we're in an ugly place now because this is what happens when you do everything for Steph. And
to the 925, and you miss on your draft picks, and I'm including Kuminga.
Well, they missed on Butler, too. They missed on Butler.
No doubt.
They missed on the Butler trade. So right. they tried to get an old guy in here to help.
And it worked fast and quick, and you said it perfectly.
Yeah, and
he got hurt.
Now it's not working.